back. Hey, here. Here. Come, here. Bird of the morning here. Come. Come. Good dog. Bring it here. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. So you ever wonder why your dog gets hot sometimes and you don't flush a bird? Man, that dog was all over scent. We never flushed a bird. You know where the two grouse were sitting? Top of these trees. Why are they sitting in the top of these trees? Well, these are the aspens, and they feed on the aspen leaves, right? That's what their primary food source revolves around, these aspen trees. I talk about them so much, and usually what I talk about is the young ones, right? The young slash, because that's where the cover is. The young slash has dropped their leaves already for the most part. But if you look back behind me, there's this ridge, and these aren't necessarily mature trees, but they're about as big around as my leg. So there is no cover in these trees for the grouse to hide, right? To be protected from the hawks and the daytime avian predators. You know, if they're walking around down on the floor, forest floor, they're pretty exposed. So that was just absolute dumb luck, because when they jump from that high up, they are away from you so fast. So we got really lucky. There was two of them. Yeah, we missed one other bird that was sitting in the middle of the trail. I could have shot it on the ground in the middle of the trail, just a young bird hunkered down. And I mean, I saw that thing from 50, 60 yards away. And I just prepared for it to flush, walking up to it. And guess what? Just checking these trees while I'm talking, just to make sure there's not like a covey of birds all sitting in these trees. But I second guessed myself. I'm like, is that actually a bird? I'm like 20 yards from this thing. This thing ain't moving. It's just a dead fern, right? Those crumpled up dead ferns can really trick your eyes when you're out here in the woods. So I pull my gun and this thing flushes. And I quick pulled up and I missed it twice. Flushed right down the center of the trail. Kind of banked a little bit, as they do, and I shot to the left of it, and then I shot to the right of it, and I did not get that bird. So we have flushed 3 now. We are on the same spot we were in yesterday. And guys, I'm going to try to give you a habitat breakdown, because I'm on Facebook. I'm in some grouse hunting groups on Facebook. So if you're just watching my videos on YouTube, you can certainly follow my channel on Facebook. It's basically a hunting season channel, right? I post during hunting season. I don't post much during the rest of the year. I am not a social media influencer who's constantly putting out content, trying to get views and whatever. I just do this during hunting season. But I keep getting asked, where are you at? Roughly what part of the state are you in? You know, what general area are you in? And I'm just going to tell you flat out, it doesn't matter. The habitat matters. Still running my Tacticam. I think I should shut that off. You wonder why it takes me an hour to get all my videos off. It is because it takes, I couldn't tell you what the minute to minute ratio is, but it takes forever to get these videos off this Tacticam. But anyway, it's the habitat. If you are hunting the best possible habitat, you're gonna find grouse. So let's take a look at this spot I'm standing in. I'm at the end of the trail. It's kind of a big opening, a landing where the loggers stack their logs and stuff. If you're up in logging country, you know what those look like, right? You come to the end of the trail and there's a great big opening. But let's look at why the birds are in this spot. All right, as we look around this spot, you have a spruce bog out there, spruce and tamaracks. And then it comes to a hump of young aspens out here. And these aspens are too young. They are probably only 5 years old. So they're too young to really hold your grouse. And then we come back into this stuff. Now you're looking at real ideal size cover, you know, size of my wrist and my forearm. This is mostly birches in here. But then you're seeing these jack pines mixed in, right? And I come around behind me and here's slightly more mature stuff. And that's where those birds were, sitting up in those trees, packing their crops full of aspen leaves, right? They find the trees that still got some green left in them, like that one right there, still got some green left in it. And they are up there feeding. They don't stay up there all that much. That's kind of an evening and early morning thing is what I find. And then they come down, they get on the ground. But what you're looking at here is mixed cover at its finest. Swamp, young age aspen, aspen that's a little too old, a little slough, and then on the backside, ringed with aspens and then mature red pine. And then you have this young jack pine and these young birches here. Thick cover. If I flushed a grouse straight back into this, probably not even gonna fire a shot. That's how thick it is. But those birds go up, the birds across the trail, you do get shooting. All right, so this is where I jumped that group of 8 birds yesterday. And I want you just to look at the thick brush. And then if you can see back in there, you got aspens running on the back side of it. All this kind of edges up to this little bog that again has thick brush running around it. Even though the larger aspens in this spot they're too mature, but it's that transition back there where you have young aspens into heavy brush into mature aspens, and then we come across this little road, and like I said, that's just a wall of jack pine, a lot of birch mixed in with it. And if you get up around this corner, it's actually primarily young birch and aspens right back up in through there. So we're looking on this edge habitat where different habitat types are meeting, but they have everything. They have cover back in here. They have food. They are in the brush. They are eating buds. They are up in the aspen trees, pecking aspen leaves. And this particular trail, really, I'm not seeing much in the way of clover, but they do get, oh yeah, there's some clover, right? They get down in this grass and they are also pecking clover. So that bird I missed about 5 minutes ago, just sitting on the clover, and I'm sure, sitting on the edge of the trail, sorry, and I'm sure he was eating clover. So that's what makes this spot a quality grouse habitat spot. All right, I'm gonna give you habitat breakdown number 2. We are on the same trail. And you look at the pines and stuff that I just came out of, and we come here and the pine's thin. You can see the little aspens mixed in. And we got about 30 yards that way. There's kind of an open bog that runs there. Dog got hot right here on the side of the trail. I was facing that way. Bird flushed from this side. And again, aspens, a birch or two mixed in there, and then, you know, more of the heavy pines. So it is this mixed cover. Okay, mixed cover. And if you look behind us, we're coming up on the transition line of some mature stuff. Okay, this is a 100-yard stretch here. I can't even tell you how many birds I flushed last year. A bunch. So I'm gonna stick this camera back in my pocket, but I just wanna keep showing you what I'm hunting in, right? Mixed cover. Aspens mixed in with these little pines. Swamps back there. What do the swamp edges give you? They give you daylight. What does daylight give you? It gives you the heavy brush, allows some of these young aspens to grow up. Now I'll come back. And then that's the grouse's food. That is their food, right? They're eating the aspen leaves. They're in the brush pecking buds. Again, if you have a nice trail full of clover, you're gonna get them right out on the side of the clover, right on the side of the trail feeding on clover at this time of year. But you don't have to have that. You don't have to have these mowed clover trails. Find that mixed cover. Again, we're getting ready to come into the mature, but nice little pocket of aspens leading into that. And then a swamp down on the other side of this mature stuff. Let's put this away and see if we can get a bird. Show you this spot real quick. I'm sitting in the truck. I don't bother walking this spot. Talking about that mixed cover and all that fun stuff. And if you take a look, this is just nothing but jack pines. Little jack pine plantation here. So I drive through it. I don't ever see grouse in this spot, ever. Not saying there couldn't be one, but it's a spot that I don't waste my time hunting because there isn't the aspens and the birch and the brush, the edge habitat type stuff. It's just kind of the middle of this jack pine plantation, which is, I guess, one of those, we'll call it dead zones. All right, we're spot number 2. Unfortunately, this trail, the first 3/4 of a mile, for sure half a mile, there's like one spot in the middle, little low slough that occasionally has birds on it. It's a dead zone, so we just walk it. We walk it pretty fast, right? We got these big mature pines. The brush underneath these pines is not thick enough to really hold birds, and we have these aspens that are way too old. Not going to be finding grouse in this type of stuff, right? This is not the mixed habitat we're looking for. Big tall pines. There is nothing young in this spot. It is all mature. There is nothing thick and heavy that's going to hold your grouse. So again, if you're saying, oh, this is nice mixed stuff, right? Pines, got aspens in it. This is not what you're looking for. This is going to be a lot of miles and you might flush one bird. You are not going to be putting up numbers of birds in this stuff. It's just not going to happen, right? And I should never say always, because I just got done saying that, right? Grouse hunting's not an always thing. You might stumble across a covey of birds in this. They travel, right? They walk. They don't migrate. They have a home range. So if off the back side of this somewhere there was some good quality young cover, and then maybe over there there's another area of quality cover, they may be going from point A to point B. But if you're in a big area, you know, half a mile wide, 1/4 mile wide, and this is all you're looking at, you got to find better spots. There's another aspen island that I walked last year, way back there, about 300-400 yards away. That you can walk this one and then jump over to that one. It's beautiful. But gosh darn it, I'm not going to get wet, I guess, today. We're going to see if we can do it, but not sure it's going to happen. All right, so I just wanted to show you that. You know, you get these big open bogs, some islands of aspen, right? In the winter, the loggers go back, they'll clear cut those little islands. You might wonder how they get there. They do it when the ground's frozen, obviously. I just wanted to give the dog a drink before we hit this clear cut up here. I got 3 birds out of this cutting yesterday, but I wanted to point out that it's not just an open pine clear cut with a little bit of brush and aspens around the edge of it. Take everything in, right? There's these islands, these dots, maybe 3-4 acres in size, maybe 10 acres in size, back on the edges of these bogs that are flawless habitat. Right now, it's all like 10, 12, 15-year-old aspen slashing, and it's just beautiful stuff for grouse out there. So it's not that the birds are, you know, keying in necessarily on this little pine clear cut. It's the big picture. It's all the habitat types that are within, you know, a little 100-acre piece here. So just keep that in mind. We're not looking for just one thing. We're looking for multiple things coming together in an area. So I flushed, I know, probably 8 grouse, and I only walked what would it be, the east half of that clear cut yesterday. So we only got 1 bird today. We'll probably go the entire perimeter of it, see what we can do. It's windy, it's cloudy, it's warm, it's 54 degrees. The birds are not quite as active on these days, and it's tougher on the dog to really run hard. So those tend to be not as good a days, but hey, we're still gonna see some grouse. Let's see what we can do up here, put the phone away. But as you can see, we're coming into this big open clear cut. We're not here because of the clear cut. We're here because of everything around it. On this side, it's a great big tamarack and spruce bog, and the grouse sit on that edge because that's where the heavy brush is. That's where the little bit of aspens around there are. So it's got everything. All right. Let's see the stuff here. We got some mature aspens behind. We got these aspens here. Thick. And then you look out here and it's just open. So it's this edge where everything gets real thick. Lots of food in there. We flushed 2 birds right up at the end of this piece. Kind of runs out. I don't know if that bird was sitting on that log or just down on the other side of that log, but I walked right past it and it flushed out behind us, of course. And the first one flushed in where I couldn't even see it, just barely heard it. But again, we're right on that edge. Bird came from right there. Here's a big open bog right here. Man, I mean, that one flushed from 7 yards from me, but went straight back into that wall of brush. Whew. Again, really windy. I'm sweating. It is so stinking hot here. Less than ideal, to say the least. But I think we've put up now, I think 7. Yeah, I think we put 7 grouse up. And I have got the 1, and I've missed 1, and that's it. So, again, you can still hunt birds when it's windy. You can hunt birds when there's not exactly ideal weather. Like I said, when I was in my truck coming to this spot, my truck said 54 degrees. I'm just sweating, I'm dressed too warm. But we're still flushing some birds. We're gonna go hit this other spot over here. Not much on the edge here. Like I said, we did push a few out of there. I think 3. So we're gonna go try the other side. And then as long as it's dry and I'm not gonna get wet feet, we're gonna go across to one of them aspen islands out in the middle of this bog, and birds might be sitting out on there today too. Over here, it's spongy. Boots are a little wet, but I think we're gonna do this. All right, well, we just pushed through this much more traditional grouse cover. I wasn't gonna do any talking or filming until we got out the back side of it here, but if you look, smaller stuff, you know, about the size of my wrist. Actually, if you get back into it a little more, the stuff's a little bigger. For whatever reason, this back end of it is a little bit smaller than the average that was in the middle of it, but also a lot of thick, heavy brush in here. Boy, it's tough shooting in there. You gotta get the birds to get up in the air, and you do get shooting out of those spots. But we're gonna pop across. There's another one right across from us that we're gonna walk. But boy, you're hitting cover like this, you're hitting the edges, you're hitting the stuff I showed you earlier this morning. I mean, I don't know how far south you got to go where you're in no grouse at all, but if you're in northern half of Minnesota and you're hunting stuff like this, you're going to be bumping birds. All right, so we're just going to bump across this bog, and that's where we're heading. All right, so we hopped across to this other side, and he just put up a grouse. Nice high flush, but he went out. It's just too far ahead of us. I don't know what the heck. The dog was over here, so it must have bumped another, I suppose, 15, 20 yards in front of the dog, and it just didn't give me a shot. I saw it up pretty plain as day flying up through this stuff, but just too quick, too tough of a shot. So hey, maybe there's more birds. We're gonna hit this edge and then work our way back out to the open bog. Gosh darn it. That was as good of a flush as you could ask for. And I just straight up choked. I rushed my shot. The last 4 flushes have been getting up too far up, and I've had to just get up on them really fast. This one flushed from 10 yards in front of me. I didn't have to get up on it that fast. I could have took my time. I didn't, and we don't have a bird. camera's fogging up. It is raining. I don't know if you can see it or hear it, but it's raining. We're gonna start heading back to the truck. But that's the 5th bird we flushed off of this 2-acre piece. So hitting the high quality habitat like this, you're gonna put birds up. Gotta make sure we didn't hit that bird, but I'm pretty sure I choked. All right, the rain's coming down now. Of course, we're probably 1.5 miles from the truck, so we're gonna be soaked by the time we get back. We're gonna start heading that direction though. That was not here last year. We're gonna find out if we can jump still. I'm getting too old for that. I used to be able to jump pretty darn good. I gotta clear about a 6-foot creek here. We're gonna see if we can do it. Oh boy. All right, here we go. See if we get wet. Made it.